What is IAEA? International Atomic Energy Association. What is the genesis of this organization? Where did this start? In which year? Or through which treaty? Any treaty? Or it just came into existence just like that? What is the mandate of IAEA? What do you mean by mandate? Its purpose. What is it supposed to do? Right. Right. So, what is the mandate of IAEA? Yes, this is a homework for you previously. I gave this as a homework. Take a look at this, you will understand what is the mandate of IAEA. Once why is it warning? What is the mandate? When did it start? Okay, anyway, moving on. Take a look at this. This will be your revision. I already asked you to do this. If you forgot, do it again. See, the problem here is Israel is planning to hit some nuclear facilities in Iran, and IAEA, which is supposed to be the watchdog or the caretaker, it's the global observer of any nuclear developments, whether it is for civilian use or for military use. IAEA inspectors will have the authority to enter into that country and see if um, any nuclear development is happening in those regions. So recently, for the first time in its history, IAEA said that whatever Iran is doing is not right according to the compliance. As a member which obliged to give updates about any nuclear developments, IAEA was unhappy with the way Iran was submitting its data. And that's the context of this present escalation. Israel believed that there is nuclear enrichment happening and decided to attack those sites. See, usually a normal attack on a site doesn't necessarily cause a nuclear disaster. But there is a possibility. How, why, the technicalities, we don't want to get into that. But IAEA warned that there's a possibility. So, that's the whole gist of this. Okay, now tell me, International Yoga Day. Why June 21st? Longest day in Northern Hemisphere. That's the important point. Okay, you might get a question. Okay, where is this Bandar Abbas port? Bandar generally means port. Algeria. Sure. It is the Iran's largest port. See, you will get mapping questions like this from newspapers. So, always have digital atlas. Okay. If not, at least you have Google Maps, right? Go to Google Maps and see the surrounding areas. Now, here is a task for you to observe. There are 3 ports. This Bandar Abbas port, Gwadar port in Pakistan, and what is India's stake in this region? Which port? Chabahar port. Okay, please take care. and observe these three ports in which order they are present. Left to right, right to left, check once. That is west to east, east to west, you should be comfortable, or north to south, south to north. Prelims questions can be asked in this way also. Arrange these ports from west to east, east to west, north to south, south to north. That is one possibility. Okay? That's a task for you. Please write down, go observe, note it down in your mapping notes. See, from today, I want you to categorize the entire syllabus into different sections. Preferably do this digitally, not physically. You can take down physical notes in the class, but store all this information digitally on Google Docs or Evernote, Notion. There are many note making apps, OneNote. Whatever is comfortable to you, go pick that and categorize the notes digitally. So one of the categories should be this maps. I asked you to go and check the YouTube section where I made some videos on mapping for this 2025 prelims. That will be relevant for 26 also. So in that, add this ports, international ports in use. This is another theme. In the same section, you can also add India's ancient ports. That is another theme. Here, in the same news somewhere, you saw Russia-Ukraine war happening, and there's a place called Kharkiv. I don't know. Yeah, here. Odessa and Kharkiv. See, these cities have been in news since 2-3 years, ever since the conflict came out. UPSC can bring back all those old news and ask next year also. So that's the reason why I'm saying whatever conflicts happen in the last few years, last 4-5 years, they can be important. Make a habit. Any conflict area, wherever there is a conflict across the world, try to maintain a repository of those places in news. Keep revisiting them from time to time. You never know in which format the question will come. Either it can come in chronology, as in they can mix some historical event with geographical place and ask a question, or normally whatever mapping questions you are getting in UPSC prelims, you will get a question like that. If you have not seen how UPSC is asking questions on mapping in the last 4-5 years, this is an opportunity. Today is an opportunity for you to go back and check. Okay. Okay. Now, see, take a look at this. Today's homework is again airspace. What do you mean by airspace? How is this demarcated? Sorry? Okay. What do you mean by opening up airspace? Why is it closed in the first place? How is this linked to the concept of sovereignty? What else is there? What is Chicago Convention? See, this is related to safety. This is related to civil aviation. I am giving this with an objective to help you understand that UPSC has a way of confusing aspirants. They will take up one parameter of civil aviation and attach it to military, military aspect of aviation. So what is the difference between the mandate of Chicago Convention and there is a restricted relevance to the concept of airspace, because even civil flight should move through the same airspace. Okay. Is there any difference between the way military flights move and civil aviation? I mean, normal civilian aircrafts move. If yes, how? I want you to be curious, because finding information is not a problem these days. But what question to ask is a big challenge, right? So I'm giving you the questions. After you get an answer to that question, come back and read this. You will understand better. Okay? Moving on. Okay. Another terminology. Sometimes in prelims, see, when I'm discussing paper, I am giving all this information with an objective to not just cover for mains but also for prelims, because prelims has been a very big challenge over a period of time. If you listen to these classes, you will get accustomed to this. In the context of money laundering, what is a mule account? Know this. Mule account. Okay. How is money laundering as a concept dangerous for internal security? Because money that is taken away from taxation channels, it's okay if they're used for personal use. It's not okay, but let's just say it's okay. But if it is diverted to threaten Indian sovereignty, it's an issue. And it's used as a concept to divert government funds. It's a bigger issue. So observe this news. Right. See, this article is basically, okay, I'll give you the brief context of this article again, but one second. Yeah, okay. Let's take up this Pakistan's Iran Balancing Act. This particular article, let me explain briefly, and then let's go back to that article, older article. Okay. Now, let me go back to the origin point of the conflict between Islamic nations, some Islamic nations. This context and this backstory is important to understand the diplomatic relations in the present times. In Islam, you have two major groups. Can you tell me what they are? Shias, Sunni. What is the problem here? Why is this conflict happening? Any idea? What is the origin point? What is the difference basically? No, that's not a problem. Both of them have agreement on Prophet Muhammad as messenger of God. After his death, who should succeed? That's the conflict. Shias, they felt that the family members of Prophet Muhammad should continue. Sunnis, they felt that the confidant or the aide, this person should be, you know, should be continuing as the religious head. This led to a faction, two factions dividing. In Islam, there is a you know, fracture in the relations between the communities, and this has led to two different groupings. In one of the event, the leader, Hazrat Imam Hussein, he was assassinated. And Sunnis do not really give importance to this day, but Shias give a lot of importance to this day because Imam, as a religious authority or the central figure in Shia faith, that has been the conflict. Sunnis wanted to have caliph, the institution of caliph, and Shias wanted to have the institution of imams, which is like a family lineage. Since this is more democratic, this is just my observation, it need not be true. Since this is more democratic, this is widely accepted. Okay? And this is the origin point of conflict between various Islamic nations in the Middle East. And this has led to not just ideological differences, but also automatically, since all of these are Islamic republics, it has led to political fragmentation of the Middle East as well. And US, Russia, and every other stakeholder in that region, when I say stakeholder in that region, they have interests in that region, have been working for a very long time to keep the region together. As in, any conflict that escalates beyond a certain threshold has an impact on the entire world, given the importance of that region for energy security. So one of the biggest fear was the nuclearization of the Middle East. And that's the reason why Iran, after, okay, some backstory. Iran today is theocracy. What do you mean by theocracy? It's a form of government where religion and religious authorities play major role or the deciding factor for formation of the governments. So, before Iran became a theocracy, it was liberal. After that, some years later, it was forced to enter into this treaty called the Non-Proliferation Treaty. What did I say Non-Proliferation Treaty was all about? Did you do the homework? When did NPT come into existence? Or when did it come into force? Rough date. 1970 exactly. But when was it signed? What is the cutoff date? You should do your background work. I'm asking you to do. If you're just going back and not looking at it again, that's a problem. See, according to NPT, the cutoff date is 1st January 1968, 67. So, any state which either carried out an explosion or manufactured some bomb, they are allowed to keep it. And the logic that NPT gave was deterrence. So, who are these members? UNSC permanent members, P5. Now, I gave you a homework the other day to see who are these P5 in the context of Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Right. So, except these P5 countries, nobody else is allowed to have. Okay. Now, what is the official stance of different countries on this? And where can you expect prelims questions? This is what you should be focusing on. India did not sign this. What is the logic given by India? Exactly. If you say nuclear disarmament is your funda, Why are you allowing some countries and why are you disallowing some countries? It should be universal, right? So on that premise, India did not sign NPT. Did Pakistan sign? Why not? Exactly. Because India did not sign it. Did North Korea sign? It signed but withdrew in 2003. Sorry? Yeah, US aggression. Any other country that you can think of as exceptions? Did Iran sign? Of course. If not, IAEA wouldn't be entering into Iran and giving those free advices. So this is the background on which you can expect questions. And how is IAEA related to NPT? Because it is the watchdog. It's the watchdog to see if the signing countries are actually complying with the binding agreement of NPT. These are the things that you need to know. Now with this context, let's see what is it that this article is saying. What are the stakes for Pakistan in this region? See, Pakistan is a Sunni majority country where 75 to 80% of the population is Sunni. But you still have Shia population. They empathize with the Iran issue. Overall, there is an internal dissatisfaction against Israel in Pakistan. So it is important to contain that dissatisfaction. They might have their differences there with Iran, but they still do not like what's happening in Iran. Because if it's happening in Iran, there's a statement from many political observers that the next target might as well be Pakistan. Because Israel often claim that Pakistan is also a terror hub, and Pakistan will not be happy with a uh, war from both the sides, one from Israel's side and the other from India. So it is going to be an escalating conflict, and this can pretty much escalate into a world war like scenario. Because once Iran pulls out of the NPT, what is the consequence? You have Israel, which will anyway be an aggressor, and to support Israel, you have US, and all the Arab nations will rally behind Iran. Historically, Saudi, which has not been on Iran's side primarily because of the Shia Sunni conflict, might as well, you don't know how they'll behave, whether they'll be moving towards the US's side because it's an ally, or will they move towards Iran on the premise that it's an Islamic nation? We don't know. The present strategic lens says that okay, they don't want to take any sides. But eventually, what is going to happen? That's a big question mark. And obviously, since Iran is involved, other nations like Turkey is going to get involved. If Turkey is going to get involved, Pakistan is going to get involved. If Pakistan is going to get involved, India is going to get involved. So is China. If China is getting involved, you will have Russia getting involved. If Russia is involving, Japan will involve. And that is a perfect recipe for disaster, probably. Even before climate change becomes a real thing, it will destroy the earth. That's the potential conflict here. Now, it is in this context we need to understand this Pakistan's Iran balancing act. How is Pakistan acting? Is it escalating the conflict? Unlikely. Why? Like I discussed, the demographic mix of Pakistan consists of both Shias and Sunnis. So you will have a universal discontent against Israel, but you also have an animosity within the population. There are Balochistan insurgents. There is some um, on the borders of Pakistan and Iran. There is some insurgency activity happening. To contain that, it's important for Pakistan to cooperate with Iran. That is one issue. Second issue, India and Iran ties. You have this Chabahar port. Ultimately, if it's about business, in Pakistan's Gwadar port, you will be seeing some competition from Chabahar port because it's very closer to Chabahar port. The reason why Gwadar becomes important is because it's supposed to act as a channel to connect to the Central Asian nations. Now, India using its diplomatic leverage might focus on Chabahar, and that takes business away from Gwadar. Gwadar port is actually built by China with the help of China. In that region, you will see a lot of Chinese, citizens, Chinese nationals staying in that region and controlling that region. So there's a fear that even the demography shift can happen in the longer run. There are incidents like dissatisfaction and attacks against these Chinese nationals in the Gwadar port region. Sometimes local conflicts, not uh, conflicts that are worthy enough to become international news, especially in the times where this Xinjiang region of China, where Uyghur Muslims, there is a disturbance in China. So you can see how they are interrelated, right? Where is this conflict? Where is that region? But they're all interrelated because of the sentiments associated with the ideology. If you're not following me, there is a region called Xinjiang. Xinjiang. In China, Xinjiang region in China. You have Uyghur Muslims there. Okay. Anyway, coming back. Chabahar port, Gwadar port, and the next stake that Pakistan has with Iran is the pipeline, the gas pipeline through which Iran supplies this energy security aspect. That energy security aspect is, uh, you know, making it indispensable for Pakistan to at least cooperate with Iran. So that's one more problem. In this whole scenario, India is still following the dehyphenation policy with respect to um, both Israel and Iran. India is abstaining from making any comments there. Pakistan is also maintaining that, more or less. Okay, so this is the context and the backstory behind it, because historically, as a non-NATO ally, Pakistan should take the side of US because IMF bailouts and any kind of financial packages, Pakistan definitely needs support of US, but it cannot afford to antagonize Iran because it is right beside Pakistan, and border escalations can pretty much disturb the internal balance. So it has to balance. It's like a tightrope. It's like walking on a tightrope. That is the situation there. With this context, now let's go back to the editorial given here. See, what is this writer saying? Long story short, the conflict stakeholders, Pakistan, Iran, the JCPOA agreement, that is US, and Israel. In the short run, Israel and Israel and US might pretty much control Iran and stop it from carrying out nuclear disarmament or anything. But in the longer run, it's only the end game. What is the end game strategy? What is the strategy that a country will take to create long-term stability? Obviously, the end game strategy will be increasing nuclearization only for any country. It is not reducing, because they will take this as a threat that has dismantled their regime, and they will obviously come back. Like I told you, you can kill the messenger but not the message. That's the funda of this article, nothing new. Okay, this is a this is an interesting article. The Madhya Pradesh chief minister wanted to carry out a census of all the snakes that are there in Madhya Pradesh, and he wanted to declare king cobra as the state reptile. Funny fact is that it's not even found that commonly in Madhya Pradesh. His funda, his logic is, we have to rear, or we have to breed them in Madhya Pradesh, so that if if king cobra is moving in that region, other snakes will vanish because it will hunt them down. So environmental conservationists, they believe that this whole idea is not just impractical but very dangerous. Unlike tigers, where you can actually count them through footprints, etc., snakes, the very nature of snakes is that they're very elusive. And there are many sayings in regional languages that if you are actually breeding snakes, you know what will happen. So on these two fronts, this is not just impractical but dangerous. It can lead to man-animal conflict. But that's not the news. Apart from this interesting observation from the chief minister, there's also a possibility that this is probably not the wisest way to deal with the larger problem of snake bites. Breeding king cobras to deal with snake bites is definitely out of my logic. I don't know how it can work, but yeah, that's what the suggestion is all about. In this context, we can take a look at the different kinds of snakes. Take a note. You can go to my Telegram channel and see big snakes, as in there are 5 major snake species in India. What are they? Just take a note. Major snake species found in India. Okay. Do we have anti snake venom medication available at primary healthcare centers in areas where you have large incidence of snake bites? If not, why? Observe. See, don't you think it's wise to have antidote to this snake venom at the primary healthcare center? Do you think you should wait for an ambulance to come and take you to the district hospital? Do you think the patient will survive? Why is it that we don't have? At least, see, there should be some first aid facilities, especially in areas where this problem is prevalent. For example, a case to the point being Anantapur district in Andhra Pradesh, or Bagalpur district. then you have Madhya Pradesh, some districts in the Bundelkhand region where the snake bites are much more prevalent. See, the intent of the chief minister where he previously worked is pretty much right, and it's a local observation. Like king cobra can actually hunt down other snakes, etc. And it's unlikely that it will attack human beings as much as um, other snakes, because it is different in its behavior. Different in the sense that it cannot move in, you know, human habitations, unlike this small snakes. So that's a general observation, which is the heart is at the right place, the intent is right, but scientifically this is not feasible. Also, this article mentions about the subclassification of the snakes. See, you don't have to remember the scientific names, subclassifications, and all that, but just remember the backstory. King cobra, unlike a popular belief, is not one species alone. There are 4 subspecies, and each of these subspecies are endemic to one region only. Let's say if there is a snake species in Karnataka, Western Ghats, like that, there is a spatial spread. There are different species in different regions. If you bring a species which is endemic to one region and put them on a dry land area like Madhya Pradesh, they don't survive. One interesting observation that you need to know: king cobra is the only snake species which will build a nest. See, on animal behavior, you are getting prelims questions. So please note this point. King cobra is the only snake species that will build a nest for its eggs. These are the prelims pointers that you need to take. Okay. See, this news item can be used as a substantiating point to, in your mains answers. You can use this as a substantiating point on how e-governance can facilitate good governance. What is the funda here? See, there is a scheme, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. The intent is to build roads. In simple words, the intent is to build roads. Which roads? Is it highways? Exactly. So, it's not highways. Please take a look at this. Yeah. Now, read this news very carefully. Earlier this month, Union Ministry of Rural Development asked states to attach QR codes on all maintenance information display boards for the roads which are built under Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Why is the Union Ministry for Rural Development involving here? Gram Sadak Yojana, as the name itself indicates, it's rural. The objective behind the scheme is to connect the villages to the main highways. And why is rural ministry asking this? Why is the rural ministry asking states? Roads are in the, okay. If it is in the central list, then why ask the states? Why don't directly ask? I mean, why not directly put up the signboards? Now, here is an interesting task for you. Fund flow. If there are centrally sponsored schemes and central sector schemes. Two different kinds of welfare schemes. How will money flow for respective schemes? Is the center just providing assistance, or is it center's responsibility completely? This is the funda you need to know. Now go to Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana scheme and see the fund allocation. Is it assistance from the center, or is it completely owned by the center? See, is land a state subject or a central subject? So if roads are to be laid, whose permission do you need? Then what is the role of Rural Development Ministry? Land as a subject is still dealt under rural. Land development is a objective of rural development. Then what is the link between the Ministry of Rural Development and state governments? Go read the About Us section of Ministry of Rural Development. There is a division which deals with this. Just be curious to ask these questions and understand the linkage. Okay. First phase launched by Atal Bihari Vajpayee to improve rural infrastructure. Second phase was in 2013. Third phase in 2019. Read this. Started as a fully centrally sponsored scheme, but the funding pattern was modified to 60-40 between center and states. Just because they are giving funds, does it mean they are completely getting the authority to make legislations on that region? Just observe the patterns. I am not going to give you the answers today. We will discuss tomorrow. My job today is just to ask questions and leave it at that. See here, the National Rural Infrastructure Development Agency under MORD, which provides technical support for implementing this PM Gram Sadak Yojana, has written to all states about the QR codes. The intention is to get public feedback. Under PMGSY, roads are maintained by the contractor for 5 years after they are built. After the contractor submits bills on a mobile-com web-based platform called eMark, the field engineering staff carry out routine inspection. Based on geo-tagged photographs, you will see an update. It also deploys national level monitors to check. See, the reason why I'm asking you to read this is not because it is a important article for mains that you will get a separate question on this. At max, it can be one line or an example to show how technology can improve governance. It need not be the only example as well. You can completely ignore this news also. But take this opportunity to understand how fund is flowing, how center and states are related, how different schemes work, how technology can facilitate that interaction between the center, states and the citizens. So many layers are there to this news, and that's the reason I found it fascinating and I want you to go ahead and try. Okay, so these are the important issues that you need to know. Not a lot, but not repetitive either. That's it for the day. See you in tomorrow's class. Tomorrow as in Monday's class. Okay.